Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to CowTech episode 3 with Zack Cater, me, your host. Hope to have a good show tonight going on. Mr. Ghost, as always, thank you for chiming in, being with me this evening. Really appreciate it. I'm going to pop up a banner here. Show's going to be a little bit different tonight because I had a small hiccup that I wasn't expecting, but down here in this ticker, this is what we're covering tonight. Going to be going over the ultra thin oil with PTFE and the ultralight grease. Going to be doing some All right, guys, let me know if you can hear me. Again, apologize about that. Where I'm at out here in the garage, it's not hardwired into my router. It's all off of Wi-Fi. And apparently it just decided to say I don't want to work. So back on topic. Jason, what's going on, brother? Again, thank you guys for popping back in. Thank you for all not just leaving whenever I have a little technical issue. Bob, let me know if I see you now. You got you. Mr. Ghost, good to go. All right, guys. Let me back up and punt just a second and set these cameras back up. And one other thing, I got to bring up this sharing screen right here. So, all right, now. Small delay. We're going to rock with it, though, guys. Again, I apologize. Not a whole lot of new CowRC news going on. Nothing really new, but don't forget about the Operation 11 Charlie giveaway that's going to be coming up. It's already February, so it'll be hitting this month whenever this build gets given away. The custom body for it should be coming out, hopefully, sometime soon. You guys get to check that out. One other thing, if you scroll down on the CowRC page, you guys that are interested in potentially being with the factory team, they made it real simple with you for a link right here that will bring you up to CowTech episode 7 with Adam and Tyler that covers all the information you guys need if you want to get on with the CowRC Factory Team. So a great simple way, just go to the CowRC page. It's right there on the main page. Click on it. And it is actually time-stamped when you go to the YouTube video. Go down in the description of it. It has timestamps for when everything happens in there, so it makes it really nice and easy for you. Got the man himself, Heath, coming in tonight. My homeboy Coon Dog, Scotty. What's happening, brother? Thanks for tuning in tonight. A little bit of news, though. Any of you guys that have ordered the new folding boxes, they are still stuck in customs, so there is a delay on these. If you have any issues, just reach out to Heath. But I want to show you guys a great use that I actually found for this, specifically, for 8th scale. And actually, let me pop up this other camera to make it easier for you. Big issue I've always had is with like my pills for like A, B, C, D blocks. This box is stinking awesome. Actually, let me do this little trick. For organizing all of your pills, like Mugen uses about 3 different styles, but all of your different offsets can be kept in different cases. And these are actually nice, shallow little boxes. So they're real easy to dig out. The same thing, any of your shims, for like your hinge pins, can all be stored in here. Just makes it a really awesome way to keep all of those quick setup and adjustment parts organized for you. I'd always had just this stuff kind of thrown together in a box, and you'd be digging through pills, trying to find the right ones, trying to find the ones with the right offset for you. And that little case is an absolute problem solver for that for me. So again, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Lorraine. Thank you for chiming in tonight. So I had hoped to, screen going nuts. I'd hoped to have been racing yesterday, Saturday, the local race, but unfortunately the weather Friday got to us. So it didn't happen. Robert, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in tonight. So no racing yesterday. So what I have before me tonight is a perfectly clean buggy that needs absolutely nothing. It's ready to hit the track. It's all cleaned up and serviced. So I'd hoped to have a nice dirty buggy for you guys with some run time on it to show, the after effects of using the ultra thin oil, PTFE, and the ultralight grease. But, sometimes Mother Nature wins out, and it is what it is. But still I'm going to pull these CVs out of the back of my buggy, and we're going to start with CV maintenance first. And we're going to do the back side of my buggy because it's the easiest, and then we will get into doing bearing maintenance. John, good evening tonight, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. Always greatly appreciate it. So thankfully, it doesn't take too awful long to pop everything out of the back of a Mugen. And I'll end up moving this camera around to where you guys can see everything really nicely. But I hope you guys have all had a great weekend. Fortunately for us, the weather around here is kind of finally over that winter hump, and it's not a miserable 18 degrees every morning going to work. So for all of us outdoor racing cats, it's just around the corner, guys. Just got to hang in there. Let's see. Part labels for my folding racks. Yeah, Mr. Ghost, I've got some of the dot boxes from CowRC, and I was going to do the exact same thing with the dot box labels and put them on that folding case. That way, everything's just real quick, easy to get to. So 2 screws, and these will be ready to come out. And there's some key features on the ultralight grease and the ultra thin oil that I will go over with you guys. And I'm going to be doing all of this on the 12x16 carbon mat. Hands down, just one of my favorite little mats to use. This out the way. And the bearings that's in my buggy, I'm not going to go ahead and take them out because I have other bearings that I'm going to show you guys. And especially you guys that might be interested in going from greased to oiled bearings. Got a little trick or whatever I'll show you guys. Tyler, what's up, man? How you doing this evening? Thanks for tuning in here. So CVs are out, and make sure I got them. Almost kind of hid my little nozzles. Tyler, sir, thanks for tuning in as always. So, and all I'm going to be using to clean everything tonight is just the electrical cleaner and degreaser. And again, I'm sorry that these parts aren't dirty and, you know, like straight up off of a track, but we're going to do the best that we can here. But I want to kind of stress the point and show you guys that a little bit of product goes a long ways. Whether it's the ultra thin oil, the ultralight grease, or even with the electrical cleaner and degreaser, you really do not need to use a whole lot of product. And I'm going to set this other camera up right here so you guys get a first person view of what I'm doing. So we're going to bring this back up here and make one more change. Oh, I always forget about this too. Let me back out of this. Not what I'm wanting it to do. Guys, don't forget CowTech code. I'm terrible about mentioning this, but take advantage of the CowTech code. Save 10%. If you're tuning in from YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps out greatly. The same way, if you're tuning in from Facebook, share this out. Help us get out there in the algorithm for Facebook. Greatly appreciated. So let's go back to the screen that I originally wanted. All right, guys, I know I'm kind of backtracking around a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this ticker off of here. That way you guys get all the viewing in the world. Preventative, let's see. Mr. Ghost, preventative maintenance is key. Absolutely, man. Preventative maintenance is key. The same way if you guys are looking for some tenths of time on a track, a little bit more consistency on the track, this is where it's at. So I'll go ahead and again, hopefully you guys can see, you know, and this is actually kind of a good example how the ultralight grease sets up after a while, because both the ultralight grease and the ultra thin oil do have a curing time. Ideally, I mean, you can just put it on there and hit the track, but ideally let the product set. That's kind of a big key part. Let the product set up and do their things. So with the CVs disassembled, let's see, Mr. Ghost 100%. Now, pretty much with aerosols from CowRC, sorry guys, fat thumbs, a little hard for me to pick up small things. They do come with the option of two different nozzles. There is a restricted nozzle. It just basically has a smaller inner diameter, so you really fine tune the application of a product. And again, right here, all I'm using, the electrical cleaner and degreaser. Hands down, one of my favorite products. Mr. Ghost, for me, when it comes to curing time, I basically let everything at least sit overnight. Like if I'm going to be racing on Saturday, pretty much finish up all of my final stuff on Friday and let it sit overnight. And, you know, then I'm good to go. That's plenty of time to let everything go away. Let everything set up and you're ready to hit the track. So we're just going to go ahead and again on the carbon mat, give these things just a little bit of electrical cleaner and degreaser. Doesn't take a whole lot. Like, you don't have to hold this thing, you know, wide open, because keep in mind these nozzles on all these cans are actually, you know, pressure sensitive. And that's beyond enough. And then, sorry guys, what I like to do is use a Q-tip. Sorry, it's one thing I don't have out here on my table right now. Is just taking a Q-tip. I think these are actually like the child safety kind of Q-tips, where you're young and, you know, can't poke his brains out. and just run around the inside of your CVs and get everything nice, clean, and dry. And the same thing with the actual shaft part of it. Again, you're not going to see a tremendous amount of dirt or anything come out of here because that's our race got canceled, and I was chomping at the bits to hopefully get in some local racing this weekend. Make sure you can dry everything out. And the same thing, the little barrels that go inside your CV, great to use the nozzles to get down in here and just really blow these things out whenever they get little bits of grit and stuff inside of them. But basically, that's about it. And so if you don't have a Q-tip, you can use the microfiber towel from CowRC to clean these. But I want to show you something, and I hope this shows up halfway decent. This is the pin. This focuses. I've been running these same pins for over a year now with the ultralight grease coating. The sets that I ran before this, I had started running them just dry, and then I had ended up going into the MooSlick silicone, which helped, but it just doesn't seem to have that lifespan. It's far superior on a slickness level compared to the ultralight grease, but the trade-off is longevity. So these little pins have held up phenomenally better over the last year. The same pins I've ran all year long, because the first ones that I had basically came out looking like a barbed hose fitting. They were just completely worn out, toast, and you can see right there just how little pressure you actually do have to apply with those pressure sensitive nozzles to be able to get any of the actual products to come out. So again, nice, clean, and dry. Yeah, Mr. Ghost, pipe cleaners are one thing that I need to pick up, and I haven't ever done it. And every time I do this, I'm kind of wishing I had a pipe cleaner. So I use the gum brushes. Okay, that's interesting. Most of the brushes, especially like when these little holes where the pin goes through get kind of clogged up, I'll use this CowRC brush, the one that comes in a 6-pack, because these bristles actually fit down through the holes really nicely, and you can kind of push out all that excess dirt. So, just a little bit of the electrical cleaner and degreaser on this one as well. And that's basically all we need. And the same thing, if this was all filth and dirt and clay, the electrical cleaner and degreaser has no issue cutting that out, getting all of the old oil off. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to clean up this little excess. And keep in mind the electrical cleaner and degreaser has a really fast flash time. You'll start seeing this evaporate. But if you're kind of like on a time crunch, you want to clean a little bit quicker, you definitely can use the Jet Blaster Mini, which there is a new version of this coming out later on, a couple of months. It's like 30% stronger than what this is. This is the original version that came out. And you're definitely going to see me using this when we get around to the bearings. Hey, there you go, guys. Pipe cleaner brush is coming later on in this year. So there we go. More additions for us. Doug, thank you for tuning in. So from here, I'm going to move my electrical cleaner and degreaser out of the way. We're going to pop over the ultralight grease. And thing to note, keep in mind, the ultralight grease can be used in multiple other areas. Another big area for me to use them is for pillow balls. Adam Ross actually had mentioned this. It's actually been a little bit while back now, but using the ultralight grease on pillow balls, because it's the same way I had always used the MooSlick silicone, and the ultralight grease is the way to go. It has worked phenomenal for pillow balls, as well as for my CVs. And I'll slap these two together right quick. You know, a lot of guys seem to think that, you know, putting any kind of grease, any kind of oil on your CVs is an absolute no-no. Everybody's always worried about, especially outside racing, basically the dirt, the dust, getting into those CVs and basically making like a valve grinding compound and everything out. And I have not had that issue at all. I originally had started with just my front CVs using the ultralight grease. Loved it so much that I ended up running it on the back CVs as well. And you guys know, you know, the back of a buggy is what takes all the dirt. That's where everything gets thrown at and gets dirty. Let's see. We were using products today, cleaning our cars from last race. Awesome, Tyler, man. Love to hear it. Hey, while you're taking, you know, some time working on them, snap a couple of photos of them, stick them up on the fan page. So try to angle this. Where I like to apply the grease is right here where you have the split actual dog bone. And one thing I always do is just kind of clearing out the nozzle. What I've got is just my trash can. I always like to just give a spurt and purge everything out through there. But right here where this split is, you're going to see, and it doesn't take a lot of product. You can basically just fill that little void. And I'm actually going to do the other side as well. And that's all the grease that you need. That is beyond enough. You do not have to sit there and coat everything. It doesn't take a whole lot of product to fill in that CV. Let's see, cleaning brushes. Half the time I miss the show because I'm always busy doing. Hey, well, you know, Red Dog, thanks for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Okay. Nick B, yeah, I'm in upstate South Carolina, so basically all I race on is clay. You know, high content red clay. But again, I've had no issues with that valve grinding part deal. I've never ever had that experience. Now, you will get some clay that, you know, like clay dust that fits or gets in right here, you know, on the outside. And that's where I love taking the thin, you know, blade brush from CowRC and sliding in right here between rounds and just knocking that clay off. Bruce, good evening to you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I remember you now, man. Still can't remember your name. I have to look you up on Facebook. But yeah, I know exactly who you are. Hopefully I'll make it back down to something. But anyway, once you've got this, you know, lubed up right here, I'm going to pull this off. That did not go to the way I wanted it. What I'll do is basically swish these things around like a wine glass. And I'm hoping that this camera will pick it up because you'll hear the CV joint squeaking and eventually you'll hear it physically change tone. And that's when you know you've got the oil everywhere. So I'm going to be quiet for a second and hopefully this camera picks this up. So that's it. Again, hopefully that camera picks up that sound. If you do it in person, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You will hear that oil disperse out through everywhere in that CV joint. And again, both the ultralight grease and the ultra thin oil PTFE, you hopefully can see that in that video that are in the live part. They both have a very nice deep creep action. They work very well into small areas. And I'm going to do that again with my other joint. Let's see. Mr. Ghost, you had to have a grinding problem with the grease and are running wet and muddy conditions. Awesome, man. I know a lot of people don't believe me when I say that about running the ultralight grease on CVs. So that makes me so happy that somebody else can know exactly what I'm talking about and vouch for it. Just falls right off. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Pull this camera back up. One day I will set the hot link for all these camera changes. Jason, what's up, buddy? You are more than welcome. So again, we'll do the same thing, and you guys can see just how little product I'm actually putting in there. That's not a whole lot. And again, keep in mind, these pressure sensitive nozzles, basically the harder you press, the more product you get, but you do not have to apply a whole lot. I mean, that's it. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring this back up to this other camera. Hopefully you guys can hear what I'm talking about. Doggone it, did it again. There we go. So we'll be quiet. Hopefully you guys can hear this. That's it. You'll hear it get a lighter pitch to it. You'll feel it. It gets smooth. And the same thing. Now, CVs naturally have, you know, a natural bind to them, unlike if you run universals. But I'll show you guys. I'm just rolling this around very slowly. And you can watch and see how well the actual shaft itself moves. It's not catching apart, you know, and kicking up whenever it comes to that natural binding spot. So definitely an awesome product for your CV joints. Nick, man, hopefully it arrives to you soon. Can't say much on that. I'm just in South Carolina, right up above Florida, where CowRC's at. So I'm pretty blessed with being able to get stuff pretty quickly. But I can promise you, Heath will absolutely take care of you. Smooth. That's right. And I'll show you one other thing, because a lot of guys ask about this. Let me pull this back up. And that is replacing, actually I'm going to do it this way, the pins, whether it's in your drive shafts or on your CVs, these pins wear out. They get these big flat spots to them, and they will eat the out drives on your diffs. Oh, where'd that go? Yeah, like halfway up when you rotate them around, they'll start catching, but super smooth with the ultralight grease. Awesome, man. Hopefully you get everything. But if you use a pin tool, like this is a Mugen pin tool, J&T makes these. There's all kinds of companies that make pin tool replacements. But the same thing, you know, these threads where they go into your tool can actually have a fair amount of pressure when you're replacing those pins, especially if it's the first time. So again, with the ultralight grease coating, just a nice simple little coating on it will help the threads. That's actually, I put like way too much on there, but it'll make those threads nice and smooth and resist any kind of galling. And I'll go ahead and knock out this pin, because again, hopefully this picks up on here. No, this isn't the greatest camera. You can see that big old flat spot on top of it. There are so many good uses for the product. And let me grab a pin. That one. And nice thing about the dot boxes, comes with the labels, so you can actually label everything that you want and need. so I know exactly what pin that I'm after. And run this down just to get that grease everywhere. And just so you guys that have ever been curious know, this is how you replace the pins in your shafts. And I can see somebody's already made one comment. Let's see. Robert, it's just CowRC on YouTube. This is actually broadcasted on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, exactly. You can do that right there, Nate. You can swap them side to side to keep, running that pin, get your money out of it. But basically, you simply just load your pin up in there. You use the new pin to drive out the old one. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, man. I do that as well. But just for the purposes of the show you guys one more way that you can use the ultralight grease coating. And pin replacement goes right along with CV maintenance. And then you undo your tool and you're all set with your new joint. This is a set of spare shafts that I need to kind of service anyway. So again, just a little bit of ultralight grease on those threads will help tremendously and just make your tools actually work better for you. One more thing, I'm gonna wipe this off. And then guys, we are going to get moving along into doing bearing maintenance. So get this out the way. Got to clean it up a little bit sloppy here. So guys, again, highly recommend you try the ultralight grease coating on your CV joints. Don't be worried about that valve grinding compound effect when running in dust and dirty conditions. And again, it does have a cure time, just like the ultra thin oil with the PTFE. So let me move some stuff around. And big thing, the carbon fiber mat. Yeah, the one that I'm working on, this is the little 12x16 guy. But something to point out on all of the aerosols, try to grab the right can. If you look down at the bottom, like on the ultralight grease, net weight 14 ounces. On the ultra thin oil, 15 ounces. Now this is a 24-ounce can. That net weight is the actual usable product inside. So there's 15 ounces of the ultra thin oil with PTFE in this can and 14 ounces of the ultralight grease. So any of you guys that like do price comparison, do a little bit of shopping online, you can compare those numbers to how much actual usable product that you're getting. I can tell you this can of the ultra thin oil PTFE, I've had for 1.5 years now. And if I had to guess, I would say this thing's probably about 60% still full. There is a lot of oil and grease in these cans. So you really get your money's worth, especially if you take the time to break it down and do some price comparison for the actual price you pay for usable product. Oh yeah, absolutely, Mr. Ghost. They last so long, it's ridiculous almost. In the small series kit, Nick, I won't have to look. Make a note of that, and I'll get back to you if somebody doesn't chime in on here. All right, noted, buddy. Because I'm not 100% sure. This is not the smallest carbon series mat now. Where is my other one? Oh, my other one actually has a bunch of parts on it from another project. This one that's in front of me that I'm using, this is the 12x16. So moving on, guys, we're going to get into bearing maintenance. And This applies to any kind of bearing, whether you're using rubber sealed bearings, whether you're using metal shielded bearings, doesn't really matter. I can tell you the one thing with metal shielded bearings, which is right here, what I have in front of me. These literally have a metal shield on them that you can't pull out. You can't take them out or anything without destroying them. If you're wanting, like if you order these were like J&Ts that have grease inside of them. Kind of a pain in the butt, but you can soak them like in a shot glass full of the electrical cleaner and degreaser and, you know, work them around. It will break that grease out. But since I quit using metal shielded bearings and basically everything that I run is rubber sealed now, just like these. I think these are some J&T Momentums. Hey, Nick, there's your answer right there from the man himself. So, yes, that is the yes to your mad answer. And again, what I've got, and I'm going to show you guys, this is a pretty common trick for you guys to pick up, you know. I'm going to say you could probably pick up a little bit of performance, especially, you know, if you're in a stock class kind of a race. But these are brand new NMB bearings that are in here, and these bearings are greased. So a simple thing that you can do is basically take the grease out of them and use the ultra thin oil with PTFE to lubricate them. And hopefully I can show you guys what's actually inside these bearings for at least an hour before. Mr. Are you soaking your bearings for that long? Because what I'm getting at is you actually don't have to soak your bearings, and not with the ultra thin oil with PTFE, because it has a fantastic grease factor or creep factor to it. Yeah, oh man, Mr. Gross, we're going to save you some time right now, buddy. You don't have to soak your bearings, especially if you're using rubber shielded bearings. So what I do, you can pop these rubber seals out just using your hobby knife. Preferably, I like to use one with a broken tip, which this one does not have a broken tip because I just replaced it. So you guys are squeamish of blood, just squint. But you can come right in here on these seals and pop them out. And do it on both sides. You have to excuse me if I don't say a whole lot while I'm doing this because I don't want to stick myself. But that's all it takes to get these seals out. And hopefully this focuses enough to where you guys can see. There's not a whole lot of grease in these bearings. And it doesn't matter, or in my experience, it doesn't matter what brand bearing you use. They all come with very little grease. So I'm going to take and try to get a little dollop. Hopefully you can see right there on the end of that blade just what little grease these bearings come with. You know, that's it. There's not much in there at all. And this is the way that I prep my bearings too. A lot of times I'll have 2 or 3 sets of bearings just set aside, ready to go. Especially if going to like a big event or an arena race, I can basically prep all my bearings at home and just pop another set in, like after practice, the same thing after qualifying, chunk another set in. That way I'll always have fresh bearings. And then I can do all my prep work right here at home. And it's just one less thing that I have to do at the track. So show you guys, try to get the right nozzle. And this is kind of the cool part. You do not have to hold the electrical cleaner and degreaser like wide open and like blow the grease out of these bearings. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to see just how little product that I actually put in there of the electrical cleaner and degreaser, and then just go along and brush. So clear out my nozzle. I'm trying to make sure I got you guys on a good angle here so you can see. And I'm being real ginger, finding that pressure point on the nozzle. There we go. That's it. That's all the electrical cleaner and degreaser you guys need to use. And then just lightly brush, and you're going to brush all that grease out. And for me, using oiled bearings, especially off-road, is kind of a no-brainer, because once you get dirt in that grease, you can't get it out. You can't, get that grease back out or anything. So go ahead, take advantage of oiling your bearings with the ultra thin oil, because the nice thing, even once that oil kind of wears out, you still have that extra coating of PTFE to help keep your bearings rolling along and rocking. And both the ultra thin oil and the ultralight grease do have, make that note, a little bit of adhesive in them. It's not like a glue kind of adhesive. So that's how you get like that minimal sling. And if I'm not mistaken, the ultralight grease is derived from the Udder Butter formula. But again, I'm just going to kind of clean that out just a little bit. You also want to make sure that your brush is clean. You can use the electrical cleaner and degreaser to do the same thing and clean out your brush bristles if they get dirty. But that's basically it. I'm going to kind of coat it out one more time. Come on. There. As I said, I'm basically just applying the electrical cleaner and degreaser in there. I'm not like trying to blow it out, but you guys can see how nice and smooth that bearing rolls out. I'm going to do this a couple of times so you guys can hopefully see, because I know this camera kind of likes to freeze every now and again. But super clean. All that grease is out of there. And this is going to be the same process for if you're already running oiled bearings. You're going to be doing the exact same thing. And then what I take, this is a big reason that I love the Jet Blaster Mini, because of its low air output. It puts out like a nice amount of power, but I love the ability to, regulate this guy down and have just a nice little gentle blowing for bearings. And then I know that bearing is completely dry, ready to go. I'm going to set it off to the side for a second. Let me catch up on some comments. That's awesome. I've been using my ultrasonic cleaner. You can do the ultrasonic cleaner with your bearings, and I know a lot of guys like to use the parts and chassis wash in the ultrasonic cleaner to basically clean out your bearings, but you actually don't have to with the parts and chassis wash, because keep in mind, it's not like an industrial and harsh chemical cleaner and degreaser. It's actually not that great at cutting out oil and grease. And so if you guys want to save yourself a step, save that chassis wash, all you need is the electrical cleaner and degreaser to get everything out of your bearings. Let's see. Don't even clean the factory grease out before I put the PTFE grease on. I do that too. Sometimes if I do get grease bearings, I'll let that grease ride for a race, and then go ahead and oil them. Let's see. Catching up on your comments now. I mean, it doesn't hurt. You can by all means do that if you want to. But for me, I like everything to be as consistent as possible. So if I'm already, running oiled bearings, I want to have everything basically the same as possible. Like if I put in another set of bearings on a race day, they're already oiled. They've got that little bit less, rolling friction to them, as well as having that protection of the PTFE. I'm going to clean this one out one more time, and then we'll go ahead and lube both of these. When you prep all your bearings, it definitely reduces friction. Yes, and I do this. I run the PTFE oil on all of my hubs, my uprights, and all 3 of my diffs. And granted, diffs can kind of go a little bit longer on servicing because they're a little bit more, encased in the diff housing. They're not out, in the elements as much as like a hub. There we go. Now she's spinning nice and free. Let's see. That's what I like about the electric cleaning degreaser. It's a pressurized cleaner that helps blow out contaminants. Yep, and it's ideal for this, like when you're, cleaning out all of the ultra thin oil or the ultralight grease. The electrical cleaner and degreaser is your friend because it cuts that grease. And again, hopefully you guys can see this bearing. If I get my fat fingers off of it. There we go. Get that nice, very nice, smooth action. So, and again, the same thing. I'm just going to blow it out. And that's it. And we'll do a little bit of cleanup here right quick. Move this out the way. Again. Oh, that didn't do. Man. Sorry, guys. Here we go. We'll clean up what's in front of me right quick. Double check some comments. And then we're going to throw down some ultra thin oil with PTFE. Very similar. And what Heath is talking about, I believe there, was, I'm assuming, my comment towards the ultralight grease being similar or derived, I should say, from udder butter. I think that's like where it had started from, but definitely, 2 different products. And again, on the comment of like soaking your bearings, keep in mind the ultra thin oil with PTFE, it was designed to be used from an aerosol can. So basically, to get all the properties to actually mix well in it, it's meant to be under pressure when applied. So if you soak your bearings, you kind of lose out on that some. You also lose out on that nice deep creep factor of the ultra thin oil. Whoa, I'm way behind on some comments. And my mouse is going nuts. Johnny, OG Jet Blaster. Jet Blaster is insane for just doing bearings like this. The Jet Blaster Mini is where it's at. Use a tire cleaner if you want to remove grease in the ultrasonic cleaner. Again, I remember you saying that on the last show, Mr. Ghost. That's something I haven't tried, but I do know that the tire wash does not have any penetrance in it. So maybe that's something I might play around with, and experiment with. But I do know that for a fact. There are no penetrants in the tire wash. No. No brake clean here. No brake clean here. Keep in mind, guys, I've got like 20 years experience in the automotive field as a mechanic. I have had my share of brake clean and all of its different flavors, and there's no way you would ever see me put brake clean on my RC stuff. Definitely need to pick up a variable speed model blaster. Variable speed, man. That's where it's at. Oh, Mike, what's up, buddy? Parts and chassis wash is ideal for ceramics. Some ceramic companies. I'm going to throw this mouse in the trash. I do not suggest using harsh chemicals such as a corrosive cleaner and recommend a citrus cleaner. Parts and chassis wash takes place of that. Otherwise, on stock bearings, electrical cleaner and degreaser is ideal. Okay, I got you now, Mike. Yeah, ceramic bearings is one thing I have not played around with. I have not escalated to that level yet, but I know especially like 10th scale guys, and obviously probably you might play around more with ceramic than that. Remove the tractor grease. John, same thing. I let it sit overnight, like usually before a race. This is what I'll be doing on, Thursday, Friday night. I'll be working on my bearings, getting them all cleaned up. And that way, when race day comes the next morning, I know my bearings are good to go. The oil is set and cured. So again, keep in mind the ultra thin oil and the ultralight grease both have some cure time that they need. Zach, I like my ready to run Serpent buggy, but getting parts for it is difficult, so I bet the bullet got a Techno 42.2. I'm novice. Right on, man. Good job. Actually, I've kind of been eyeballing some Techno stuff myself. Raymond, thank you for tuning in. So, back into action. I've got my two bearings here, and what I do is I go ahead and put the seal back on one side. And keep in mind, when you pop these seals in, you'll see me do the other side of them. There is a little groove that they set in. So if you're not careful, you can push the rubber seal in too far and actually induce a little bit of drag. But you see again, these bearings are nice and smooth, ready to go. So hopefully you guys clean out my nozzle and get a nice view of the foaming action and the creep action of the ultra thin oil. Again, I'm slowly just putting some pressure on the nozzle until, there we go. Yeah. Might actually need to clean this nozzle out, but. And that's it. That's all you need. No more oil. That is beyond enough oil for your bearings. Nick, all right, man. Cool, buddy. Raymond, no, not ran ceramic. I have been considering going to ceramic on my diffs just because I don't service them as much because they do not get nearly as much dirt in them as my hubs and uprights. But actually, Raymond, if you go back up, Mike just made a really good comment on ceramic bearings and cleaning them. Yeah. Dino, what's up, brother? So basically, there you go. That's all the oil that you need to put on those bearings. And again, I'm going to go ahead from here. I'll pick up my seals and just barely push on them. It doesn't take much to get these seals to pop back in. You know what I'll do is go ahead and just work that oil all the way around. And that's all you need. And then I'm going to take my microfiber because you are going to get, you know, some of that PTFE that works past this other side. These seals are not, you know, like waterproof basically. And the ultra thin oil will kind of work its way past just a little bit. So that's why I put one seal in just to help kind of hold some of that oil in. And now, you know, you're back in action with a nice, smooth rolling bearing. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Woo, getting tongue-tied tonight. The same thing with the other side. Keep in mind, these seals do have like metal. It's basically like rubber-coated metal. So these seals can get deformed if you're not paying attention and being careful. So again, all it takes is just a little bit of light pressure. And you want to look at those seals to actually make sure that they're sitting in the right area. And again, all I'm doing, I'm just working that oil around. Then take my microfiber rag, wipe off the rest. And you're good to go, guys. So move some stuff out of the way. But that's all it takes to service your bearing. Oh man, hang on. I can get this better on that camera. I'm not gonna pick up, man, that bearing rolls so nice, so smooth. So again, whether you just want to get a little bit more performance, you know, out of a brand new greased bearing, or you're just doing upkeep on your bearings, that's all it takes. And you saw how little product of the ultra thin oil that I used. The same thing, the ultralight grease on your CVs does not take a whole lot of product. And even cleaning with the electrical cleaner and degreaser, you know, you don't have to just hold this nozzle down and blast everything out of it. You can just let the product actually do its job and break everything down for you guys. Double check anything else. Yeah, they got nothing else on notes, but keep in mind, guys, you don't necessarily have to put your bearings in the ultrasonic cleaner with the chassis wash. Again, I suggest you guys go back up and read Mike's comment on ceramic bearings. But for your rigorous steel, basically mid-range bearings, you can just clean them out with the electrical cleaner and degreaser, dry them, apply the ultra thin oil PTFE, and then just let the bearings sit. Again, you don't want to just throw the oil in them, pop them in, and then go immediately hit the track. Let that PTFE and oil cure in your bearings. That way you reap that extra benefit of the PTFE, once that oil kind of starts to wear down. And as always, a lot of people ask me, how often do I, service the bearings? For me, basically, got my buggy so I can show you guys. Basically, hub bearings, that's every race. Doesn't matter to me if it's a club race, big arena race. These guys I constantly service, especially because the inner bearing is so thin where I do run CVs. But far as diff bearings, those guys can go easily 3 events, 3 regular club races, 3 local trophy races, and still come out feeling awesome with the ultra thin oil of PTFE. Again, hub bearings just get so much more dirt and grease on them, especially the rears, because you've got the front tires always throwing dirt on them. And keep in mind, between rounds, the blade brush, you can get right up in there on those bearings and keep that dirt knocked off of them, or on the CVs, excuse me. So, guys, again, I'm sorry about the start of the show with the Wi-Fi kind of going nuts. And hopefully next time you guys see me, maybe I'll have a dirty buggy. So you guys got any other kind of comments, questions, please drop them down in here. Hang on. Me caught up on this. Heath, application level. Again, guys, pressure sensitive nozzles. And one thing, if you kind of find you don't get that nice smooth application that you want with your finger, a great tip that actually Heath had told me from a customer, try using your thumb. There's actually way more control in your thumb than in your index finger. And you can get that really nice smooth application that you need. Mr. Ghost. Mr. Ghost, no problem on tips. Bob, building a new 10th buggy, all bearings and udder butter. Never had smooth. Hey, that's what we're after, man. We want it smooth. Robert, absolutely, man. Hopefully you guys get back to racing again and get a schedule out. I definitely want to come back down to you guys at Augusta. I hate what Mother Nature is throwing your guys' way, but I absolutely love coming down there to Augusta RC Complex. Jason, no problem. Appreciate it. Nick, thanks, man. That's my buggy. She's my baby. To clean off your carbon series, Matt. Kind of depends on how dirty it is. A lot of the times, just a hide wipe to wipe it down. Every now and again, if it's super, dirty with just dirt and clay on it, I will use the parts and chassis wash in the reservoir brush and give it a good scrubbing, dry it off, and then apply the MooSlick silicone over top of it. Gives it that nice shine to it, makes that carbon fiber pop, and helps keep it protected. So double check the last of the comments. I think I got caught up with everything. I'm out of time. So guys, as always, hope that helps you out, help your maintenance game. Again, don't forget about the Operation 11 Charlie giveaway. Tickets are just $1. You can find them on the CowRC website. Move some stuff out of here. And again, CowTech episode 7 with Adam and Tyler, if you want all the information on how to get on with the CowRC Factory Team. Last little bit, guys. Love it, love it. Hopefully I'll see you in the future. I'll definitely be down to Sumter at some point, man. You will see me again. All right, guys. that's it for me. I'm out of here. God bless you all, and thank you all for tuning in. See you guys.